Welcome back. Some wild results around Europe over the weekend. Let's start in the Bundesliga. Wolfsburg and Borussia Dortmund end in a 1-1 draw. Bayer Leverkusen cannot be stopped. They win again 2-1 over Heidenheim. Stuttgart get the 2-1 win over Darmstadt. How about Brendan Aronson? He scored the 84th minute winner for Union Berlin against Hoffenheim. That was his first Bundesliga goal. Good for you, Brendan. And Bayern Munich lose to Bochum. We're going to dive into that one in just a bit. Let's start with the top six here, because Leverkusen are now completely running away with this thing. They are now 8 points clear at the top of the table over Bayern Munich after their loss, and it just feels like this could be it. This could be the year where Bayern Munich are finally unseated as Bundesliga champions. They're going for their 12th consecutive Bundesliga title. But Bayer Leverkusen they're now unbeaten in 32 matches across all competitions, which sets an all-time record in Germany for a club. I mean, Allie, we're running out of sort of superlatives to talk about what Xabi Alonso and Leverkusen have been able to do this season. But I don't know, if you had to pick the thing that has impressed you most about this crazy run of form, what would it be?
I think what is nice to see in a coach at this level and how he's taken this team this season now with 58 points and ahead of the league. And they haven't won anything in a very long time, since '93. And so
Neverkusen, that's what they call it.
Yeah, they've never won Bundesliga at all.
Yeah, no, in '93 they won like the German Cup. And so I think for me, what's impressive about him is that every game matters. He's staying humble and he's staying confident, and they've been consistent. And I think under him, they see, they're not getting ahead of themselves. They're just getting the job done week to week and focusing on game to game. And I think he's even said that. And that's impressive to me, because you can easily get ahead of yourself, but he's still taking care of the little details. And I see that as players, you look to your coach to keep that consistency and that winning culture nice and tidy, and I think that's what's really helped them so far.
What I think is great as well is the fact of they're not heavily reliant on one player. Like, everyone is chipping in. I think they've got the most different goal scorers than any other team in the league. So that's something great. Frimpong here with the goal, and he's like an attacking wing back, whatever, however you want to call it. But the thing is, everyone knows what they're doing, and even when he rotates the team, the levels don't drop. The performances are still of the highest quality. Everyone knows their job. Everyone knows what's expected. So for me, it's the foundation he's put in place, and everyone's playing part of it. And it's just really great to watch. I think it's great for the league. Normally, I make jokes about this with some of my other friends who do follow the Bundesliga. What kind of
jokes?
I would say, don't talk to me about the Bundesliga till Bayern Munich win it at the end of the season. Because normally you see Bayern Munich have some blip. But this time, I would crown Leverkusen Bundesliga champion right now, because Bayern Munich have no chance to come back and win this league.
It's still too early, but 8 points is a lot.
It's a lot.
Let's have a bet. Let's have a bet.
Let's not do that.
Okay, there we go. Then. So obviously it's not too early then.
But what I also want to give Xabi Alonso some credit, because you know how difficult it is to get a team to continue to sort of fight, especially when you're undefeated and you haven't lost a match, to keep that. That's such a heavy amount of weight. Arsene Wenger spoke about it in his book, just how difficult it is to get a team to really believe, even if you say this is won, mathematically you've won, but to try to play out the rest of the season, how difficult this is to get this team. First-year manager, a bunch of these players are on loan. This is not a massive wage club. This is not a massive budget club. He's really piecemealed together a heck of a squad.
But this is what happens when you get a good manager, a good coach in place, and you let him do his job. There's no interference, whatever it is. He's clearly implemented his identity and what he's learned from the different great managers he's played under, and the players are buying into it. They're a great watch. They're such a great team to watch, and all the applause that they're getting and recognition in world football, they deserve it, because you can never watch them and be bored or say, oh, he's overrated. And for the league needs this. The league really needs this, and I think for them now, there's just so much belief that they're going to win the Bundesliga, and rightly so, and it really is good.
If they do win Bundesliga, and obviously if you're finishing the top, you're going to go to Champions League. I know odds are that he's going to go to Liverpool, Suze, but there is a piece of me that believes, man, I would love to have watched what he can do with this team in Champions League.
Well, it'll be interesting, though. I wouldn't put it there straight away. I'll keep an eye on another club called Bayern Munich right now, where they're in an absolute crisis situation. And
He couldn't go from Leverkusen to...
hey, funnier things,
No
stranger things have
way.
happened in football.
I'm saying
Sue.
no
Give that to
way.
some
Stranger
credit.
things have happened in
Bayern
football.
Munich have always found a way to poach some of the best players and
No,
talent.
I mean,
And a man that knows
that's
the league.
100% true. But let's talk about what's happening on the pitch with Bayern Munich, because they're coming off a 3-2 loss to Bochum. This is their third consecutive loss. They've given up 7 goals during this stretch. And Harry Kane is just, he's having chances. I can't remember what, they had a high XG in this game. And Thomas Tuchel spoke after the game, and he was like, we play this game 10 times. We win it, every single time. Like, this just
You didn't win it this time.
You didn't win it this time. And now you are 8 points behind Leverkusen in the table. But when you look at how they're performing during this stretch, Ali, how do they get Kane more involved? How do you get that attack back? I mean, he was scoring goals with abandon earlier on in the season.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't just been about the losses, it's the performances too. The non-existent complete game. The urgency isn't there, it's been lackluster, they're not connecting, the relationships are non-existent. Harry Kane's having to come so deep in order to receive the ball. They're not finding him. I think he does have to be more demanding with his players in order to get in more goal-scoring, situations. But he's had 28 goals in 29 games.
Yeah.
So the problem isn't him scoring, the problem is finding him in good positions and also creating chances and then putting them away. Because against Lazio, I remember, Bayern had a few good chances in front of goal, and they're soaring wide out for throw-ins over the top of the bar. And if those went in, the game probably would have been different.
That was a big chance there. That there,
Massive.
Harry Kane, that's a goal. Like, Harry Kane does not miss chances like that for the quality player that he is. Let's not forget, he's still scored 25 goals this season so far. So for a striker, he's doing his job. But for a team dynamic performance, it doesn't look good. Thomas Tuchel said before the game that basically he's called Harry Kane a training ground player. Says he does it great in the training ground, but when it comes to matches, it doesn't work well. That's not, for me, that's not a great look from a manager saying that publicly.
Especially for a guy
I
with
really
28
don't
goals
understand
this
that.
season.
Big signing. I mean, you spent
I know, but then when
getting
you
this
look
guy.
at it as well, but when you look at the performances, it's really bad. Like, Ali's 100% right. We watched him against Lazio. Harry Kane half the time was walking outside the box, and that's your recognised striker. And there's a bit of individuality, but it's not individuality in a team dynamic where you give this player individual freedom to create something and make something happen. It's become individuality in this Bayern Munich side where they're playing as a bunch of individuals. There really isn't.
If Thomas Tuchel's seat, they need to put a fire extinguisher next to it. That's
I was
going
going
to
say, do you think he lasts the rest of the season?
No. How could he?
I
First of
think
all,
he
he's talking down the striker that has 25 goals. Clearly there's no leadership on this team whatsoever. You watch this team, it's 11 individuals. There's no leadership on that pitch whatsoever. This all falls directly on Thomas Tuchel's lap. 100%.
I don't think that they'll sack him right now because of just the financial situation of what they had to do to get him there and everything. And it's just, for me, this is when you play chess. So if you're an exec up there, whatever it is, you just let him sit there and burn. You've got no chance. Because then come into the season, then you can get rid of him and blame the manager. But if you sack him now,
Wow.
You don't
who
sack
do you
him
bring
now.
in?
No one's going to fix this. The only person you could bring in to fix this is Xabi Alonso, because then he's gone from Leverkusen and you have a shot at winning. It's the only opportunity you have.